Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, I am Yvette Lloyd, host of Life Her Podcast. We have an amazing guest with us today, Debra Smith, to the show. And Debra is a holistic business coach, women's health advocate, and a musician who's made waves in the wellness industry. After starting her career in New York arts of nonprofits, she pivoted to create a New York's first mobile juice truck serving high profile clients and companies. Now through her coaching program, Mindset to Market and podcast Girl Makes Fire. Deborah empowers women entrepreneurs to build profitable, heart-centered businesses. Deborah, it's a pleasure to have you on my show. Hey girl.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm excited about this interview. I love everything that you do. You have a beautiful spirit from before this podcast has started. I love talking to you in the
Yeah.
beginning. So
Oh,
thank
thank you.
you. Thank you. So Deborah, you started your career in marketing and communication for large arts nonprofits before diving into holistic nutrition. What sparked the shift and how did you realize it was the right path for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was young, living in New York City, doing production jobs part-time, like gig work kind of, but I was really good at the tech stuff. So I got kind of sucked up into some not-for-profit companies that needed extra help. Next thing you know, I'm working full-time, moving up and up. And I
Mhm.
spent 6.5 years, I think, working for two different major, like big production companies. One was a dance company and the other was a fine art company that did public events. And so I wound up in the role of communications, helping them like really on so many different ways, like with event production, coordinating all of the publications that would be circulated, like putting together at the time websites were kind of new, right? So helping build these archaic websites like Learn in Java Text and I would design and print newsletters. I would just do whatever communication looked like at that point. And then sort of towards the end of that, wound up I had an opportunity to meet with a person who was launching a brand new email marketing platform and was looking for companies to test it out with. So I met with this guy, and it was basically MailChimp, but light. It was like the first iteration of this platform that could collect emails and do marketing that way. And I wound up integrating that tool into these like super archaic not-for-profits that were like everything was on, handwritten on notepads. Like it was like, they didn't have the funding for high-tech things. And we wound up like 10xing their event production or their event like sales of tickets for their shows and things like that. And it clicked for me that this was a way to do one-to-many marketing that was going to be revolutionary. And so I've kind of been on the tech side of things forever. However, production life in New York City is sort of relentless. And even as like a very young woman, I was 26 or 27 when I started to realize like something was out of balance in my body. And, I was like 30 plus pounds overweight. I was like bloated. I had really dry, irritated, itchy skin. I was just like not happy, not comfortable. I was eating very unhealthy. I just had bad habits all around. I just wasn't behaving in a healthy way. And it was nothing different than I'd done my whole life. It was just starting to pile up. And this between stress and poor health habits, I was like getting kind of sick. And so I just serendipity, a friend invited me to a yoga class. I met a woman there that I started chatting with. I was kind of telling her I wasn't feeling so good physically. She recommended, listen to this podcast or listen to this speaker. And a light bulb just turned on for me that I had like lived my entire life without knowing anything about nutrition. And
Mm.
we just weren't taught that growing up. We kind of had a meat and potatoes household. Um, my mother didn't like to cook so much. And we just, we never had fresh vegetables. Like we weren't poor necessarily, but we didn't have like healthy food system in the house I grew up in. And so, and they did their best. They were doing what they knew, no judgment or shame there. But I just didn't grow up with any sense of that what you put into your body is literally what builds the cells in your body. And I decided to get an education around shifting my digestive wellness because I learned that would be, help to reduce inflammation in my body. And that just sort of sparked, like I became so passionate about it, literally became obsessed with it. Like I just couldn't believe how much better I felt. I kind of transformed my life by just changing the way that I was eating and reducing toxins that I was putting into my system, changing up the inputs, right? And so I started getting like really good results. And of course, I wanted to help other people do that. So I did go get a nutrition, like a holistic health coaching degree. And I started working towards like coaching people one-on-one, but I felt like I just was really green. I had never run a business before. And I felt a little uncomfortable coaching people because I was young. I was like, it's hard to coach somebody when you have very little experience. And so I partnered up with a woman who went to the same school as me. And we had this idea of like, rather than like trying to convince people that they need a health coach, which at the time was kind of not a thing yet, like health coaching was still kind of being done in small underground circles in like, the library or something. There wasn't, and you have to remember too, this is like 2006. So it's like pre-social media. I mean, nobody even had personal websites yet. Like technology wasn't doing what it does now.
Yeah.
And my partner and I decided like we needed a touch point for people. So we had this idea of putting like a juice bar in the park, like a lemonade stand. Like you could come up and roll up to the thing and just kind of like get your fresh juice. And then we would have them there tasting this delicious fresh thing, feeling the life force. You know what I mean? Like we were like, just imagine they'll be drinking this, sipping this green juice. And then we'll be able to tell them like, hey, would you like to come learn more about how you could transform your life? Like, we thought that would be a really good hook. Like we'll hook them in with the like fresh juice. And we just started pulling the thread. And once, we figured out, well, you have to get a certain kind of permit to sell food on the street in New York. We just kept unraveling it. And we discovered a gap in the market because there was no gourmet food trucks. There was no mobile, access to health food. And so we had this ambitious idea that we could, basically take the ice cream truck and transform it into like this little zone of health and wellness, which is what we did. And that was the beginning of a 14-year-long wellness company with the core unit of sale being food, right? We sold actual juices, smoothies, salads, wraps. And so there was an easy touch point. There was like a place for people to come, meet us, and then start thinking about these bigger things. Because at the end of the day, like nobody wants to talk about changing their, the way they eat. It's an uncomfortable, it just feels like an uphill battle for people to change the way that they eat. So this made it a lot easier because we were actually just like able to give them a taste of something. And of course, anybody that starts eating, healthy, fresh foods, suddenly you can feel it vibrationally. So it wasn't a hard sell once they started eating healthier,
Yeah, definitely. So when you're leaving your role as a communications director to study holistic nutrition, that is a bold move. It's a bold move. And
it was a leap. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen here. I just know my role is bigger. It's now funny because all of that early young life work that I did is like a regular part of how I coach my clients and work with my clients today because of that experience, like understanding sort of the larger broad strokes of how we can gather people together in spaces and have these one-to-many opportunities to share, sell, whatever you want to call it. So I do still like tap into that what I learned in those jobs. But I just felt like a true like a nagging in the back of my head, like, you have to do this. And I think everyone feels that at some point about something in their life, but we're not necessarily always feeling like it's safe to take a risk and take a leap of faith. And for me, it was propelled very much by being like, I had to face the music. Like, I was not well, physically well. So
Right.
I decided I was gonna put my health at the top of my to-do list. Um, and it's paid off, for me in so many ways. I'm just a happier person because I have a healthier balance.
Yeah. So when you were transitioning, like when was that moment when you was just like, I feel so good now. My health feels so right. I really want to make other people feel this way. Like when would that transition hit you personally when you felt that you had the energy and everything to help others? Because sometimes we are scared to take that leap because we don't feel like we are right first. So when did
Yeah.
you start feeling right?
You know what? That's such an important question that you just asked. I love this question because I think that everyone that's listening to this will have a moment in their life where they have said to themselves, I'm not ready yet because I
Mhm.
don't have enough experience, because I don't have the qualification, because I don't have the degree, because there's other people out there doing it better. Like, we have these looming self-doubt if we don't have, like, haven't racked up some type of proof socially or just through doing like the work. But I think that, part of the quantum leap of our evolution in life is like that there's a knowing, there's an internal knowing that when we hone in on our, that inner voice, that inner self, it's there telling us, guiding us, giving us direction, giving us little sparks of, oh yeah, go over there and talk to that person, or avoid that way home today. Like, those things, those intuitions are in us, and it's a practice to start cultivating it. And like, but I to answer your question more directly, I had a period towards the end of my uh, health coaching, like when I was in school and actually getting a degree, where I realized I would need to walk the walk before I could actually go out and sell it. And so I did an elimination cleanse. And that's like there's a lot of different ways you can do that. But basically, you step down slowly one day at a time from your normal diet. Like, you start as is, eat whatever you normally eat. The next day you remove any chemicals. And then each day you remove like a category from your inputs, right? From your food intake. And you slowly take away all the red meat. Then you take away, anything processed. Then you take away, you get down to just fruits and vegetables. Then you take away vegetables. Then you take away fruit. Then you get down to just liquid. And then there's like 2 days where you're just drinking water or broth. So you're really just running on this like vibe for a couple days. And the idea of doing the elimination cleanse is they do it all the time for people to detect for allergens and help people get a sense of like what's going on digestively if they're inflamed.
Mm.
And so there was a moment in that day of just water where I was like,
Ooh.
I feel amazing. Like, I was like, how is it even possible that I feel so alive and so like energetic and so perfectly fine? And I'm literally just drinking water all day. And I spent the whole day just like trying to reconcile that and think about, like, I had the energy to go do whatever I needed. And my sort of the solve for that for me was, we have so much more life force than we understand. And when we remove barriers to that life force and like let it be what it is, it's very powerful. And so, yeah, we need to be putting in like all the healthy, balanced nutrition and water and good vibrations and all that stuff. But at our core, we have this powerful life force, and it's there always for us. And so we should tend to that fire, tend to that energy. And I think like succeeding at doing that and having this like moment of like, well, I've been through this, so I can really speak about this.
Yeah.
It really gave me the confidence to go talk to people about the power that they have to make a choice about how they want to feel. And that is, I think, the mindset that needs to get worked on. So with any change that we make, whether it's food related, if it's something inside your business, whenever you want to make a change in your life, it all begins inside of our mind. We have
Yeah.
these supercomputers sitting on top of our bodies, like that so much is possible. Like you said earlier, the possibilities for us are endless. And it all begins in this belief system, like whether we believe that for ourselves or not. So if we
Yeah.
can tune our mind to the possibilities, then they're truly endless and exponential. And there's so many good examples out there in the world of people who have like, transformed their own life, transformed millions of other people's lives through the power of, envisioning that for themselves, believing in it. And then that, I think when you know it, when you feel it in your mind, when you just know it, it's
Yes.
really easy to inspire and help others take that step. And I think a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
it is just it's so much of it is just mental.
It definitely is. A lot of it is. It's just us actually making that happen.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think people love like a good step-by-step process. And like it's funny now to be on the coaching side of it from the point of view of like, many, many years later, having, run my own business for so many years. And basically the entire, the juice truck was like an amazingly powerful rolling billboard because it wasn't the
Seriously.
most profitable. It was actually the juice truck was not a profitable arm of that business. We didn't turn a profit that was like a holy cow, we're making money until 5 years into that business. It was like a
Ooh.
really, really rugged start. Like we were not we made a lot of money, but we spent it all, right? Like just to keep the business running and to
Build
hire
it.
people and permits and fines and all kinds of like just learning how to do it. We were just like in the tumbleweeds for years. And then around year 4, I started to go like, okay, there are patterns forming here. Like if I got rid of 25 items on the menu and I only sold this one juice and this one smoothie, let's find out what would happen. And like, you would think when you make, like eliminate items off of a menu, you would lose customers and lose, but the opposite happened. People were so like they had so fewer choices. They got really excited about not having to think as hard. They took our recommendations and we eliminated a lot of like, unnecessary extra cost, having tons and tons of
Mm.
specialty items on the menu. We narrowed it down to like a couple of really like, consistently top selling items. And our finances, like our income and our profit
Right.
margin started to just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
Really good lesson. Like niching down, people don't ever want to niche down, especially at first. But in this case, it was like the difference between like turning a profit or not. And then,
Wow.
you know, I just it took a little while to get to that point, to see it from a distance and be able to say like, okay, we need to, shift the way that this business is operating.
Yes. And you know what's so crazy, Deborah? It's like it's pretty dope that you even just said that as far as you making profit within the fifth year. However, a lot of times people see the fruits and labor, like how you have everyone in connection because you have done things with what Tommy Hilfiger, Martha Stewart, Beyonce, J Lo, just different individuals that you had did cater and listen to A-list celebrities.
Yeah.
However, when did you actually see the success then or you actually saw it after? Because sometimes people don't understand when you show these individuals that are in A-list celebrity status, they feel that you are making a lot of money and you are doing amazing things and just they just see the success on the outside instead of
Yeah.
the inside of your business. Do that play a lot of part into it as well?
Yeah. So first of all, love this question because it's everything for online business today. So for listeners, I now only operate online as a business coach. And one of the things that I talk about literally with my clients, literally every day, is like the entire facade, the vanity of your business literally does not matter. The only thing that matters is the core engine set up to sustain your healthy lifestyle, and can you move the needle for your clients, or is your product or service over delivering so that you are like creating this perpetual motion to like eliminate the stress of doing business and create this sort of compound interest of building great relationships. And this veneer of like, yeah, we've done business like as a company that got hired to cater. We were inside like a fashion district building in Chelsea in Manhattan. And so we were physically present in this building where Marc Jacobs, Tommy Hilfiger, Martha Stewart, all of these like where they actually worked, like where Tommy Hilfiger and I have met in person more than once because I made juice for him, like because his office was down the hallway from literally where the juice truck was parked. And so we had lots and lots of celebrity interactions, lots and lots of opportunities to make food and healthy beverages and stuff for people's like company events. And I've done multiple Martha Stewart symposium events when I've met her several times. And man, is she powerful and intimidating and awesome. I'm like a big fan. She totally was like, she gave me like she cross-examined me on my juice. She was like, when did you make that? Because I served her a juice that I'd already made, but I had made it like 10 minutes earlier at the juicer, but she just didn't see the juicer. And so she thought I had been sitting around, and she was like, when did you make this juice? And I was like, oh, I just made it. And she was like, and what did you put in it? Exactly what ingredients and where did you get them from? Like she grilled me on my juice. And I was like, I felt like I was playing ping pong. I was like, I got you, Martha. It's fresh. I got it from the organic farmer this morning. Like, I was like, yeah, girl. And then she took a sip and was like, okay, it's really good. And I was like, hallelujah. But, all of that stuff is like really fun to talk about with your friends at the party later on, but that doesn't mean anything. Like it does help word of mouth get you more jobs like that. But the catering gigs, like there's a ceiling of what you can produce because it's physical production of food. And particularly with juice and that business, it's a lot of heavy in, heavy out, right? A lot of volume, giant cases of cucumbers and apples and beets, spinach, everything has to be fresh. Very, very slim margin of profit. And then everything's expiring within a couple of days. So you better sell it. So I learned how to hustle, and it was fun and it was good. But like all of those, like, yes, the celebrity encounters and like the high end, like flashy brands, it helped us because it would just people with word of mouth, we would just get more and more gigs, but it did not necessarily affect our bottom line. And here's the real uncomfortable truth is that it burnt me out. It really, really burnt me out. Doing so many things, saying yes to everything, people pleasing because they were like, important people, like saying yes to gigs that I did not want to do because I didn't have the time or the energy and it wasn't going to be that much money, but it was like so-and-so's business or so-and-so's boss and we got so wrapped up in like that culture of sort of showing ourselves, but not necessarily profiting from it. And if you're not, number one on your payroll and you're not taking care of your body, your health, getting enough sleep, feeling imbalance in your body, then it can do serious damage. Like the stress of running a business with a high volume like that and like high stakes, it's pretty stressful.
Oh yeah, I already know. It definitely is a lot stress.
Yeah.
So when you tell us about your juice truck of pilot and co-producer of Danny DeVito, and what was the experience like when you did learn from it, and even though it wasn't picked up?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is a fun story. So basically, my cousin is a writer who works for the American Film Institute in Los Angeles. And he and I used to joke around a lot about the juice truck because like the juice truck was ridiculous. I'll send you a picture so you can see what it looked like. It was like we had a local graffiti artist spray paint it. And every year for 10 years in a row, we would have a contest with like street artists and have them just repaint it. Like whatever graffiti, all different types of art went on the truck. Like it was like a rolling work of art. And all we, and inside it was like all women that worked for the juice truck. And everybody was like, just young girls in their like summer, like just party outfits, like selling juice. Like it was kind of a wild situation. In the first couple of months that we opened our business, we got like heavily threatened by and basically attacked by the Mr. Softy truck in the neighborhood. They slashed our tires. I mean, we spent thousands and thousands of dollars on new tires. Like these guys would come for our truck and slash our tires.
Oh my God.
So it happened so many times. I'm laughing about it now, but at the time we would like cry so hard. We would like, I mean, it was like me and this other woman were the only women that owned a food truck in all of New York City. At the time, there was no other female food truck owners. It's a very cutthroat business. It's not for the faint of heart. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, to be honest with you.
Wow.
It was fun because we were young and we could handle it, but we were scared a lot. We had people tell us they knew where they lived. If they saw our juice truck in the park, they were going to. And basically, these ice cream truck guys, they have their route, and if you show up on their route, you're on their turf, and you're taking, they'll tell you that you're stealing food out of their baby's mouth. So
Wow.
we got threatened a lot, and so my cousin was like, "That's amazing, like that's hilarious. Like I can't believe that you girls are just out there slinging the juice and trying so hard to like do health, like something healthy, and people are attacking you literally on the street."
Oh my God.
So he just started writing this, like worked up a pilot and came up with like, other characters. And a lot of them were based on the characters of the people in our actual business. And he pitched it to a couple of people that he was working with. One of them happened to be Jake DeVito, which is Danny's son. And the two of them own a production company called Jersey Second Avenue, I think, or something like that. And they loved the idea. And so they decided to produce the pilot. And I think that what that production company does is they seek out up and coming potential shows, and they develop a couple of, pilots or a couple of episodes to see if it has legs, and then they pitch it. And we got to do I got to go, meet with them and went out to LA. We shot the pilot in New York actually, but we did like all the readings and kind of the prep for it in LA, and Danny was there, and his son, and the whole team, and a bunch of incredible actors, many of whom are working, actors that you would recognize. And it was just a really great experience. And we did pitch it to a couple studios, but it didn't get picked up. And then things sort of fell apart because, and please, I don't know, guys, if you're listening, I love you so much, but both my writing partners, my cousin and our dear friend, both had their second baby within like a month or two after the first pilot pitch. And they were both like overwhelmed as not just dads,
Wow.
but they both had full-time careers. And then they just had their second child. They were just on that track in life. And so it kind of fell apart, honestly. But we had some good momentum there for a while. And it was so wild to be like making a television show based on the real life story of our business. So that was pretty wild.
Wow, that is super dope. So, in addition to your business, you're a dedicated women's health advocate. How do you bring holistic wellness into your work with clients, and why is this approach so important to you?
Yeah. So what I learned after being in business as a solopreneur, so my business partner and I, after a couple of years, she decided to do something different. I bought her out, and I ran the juice truck as a solo business owner until I sold the truck in 2018. And I really didn't fully close down the catering branch of it until 2019. Unrelated to the pandemic. It was because my mom had a pretty serious health crisis, and I needed to be available, and there was no way I could do both. But the truth is that I was burnt out. And I reached this place, even though I was running like a health business and a wellness, business. I was the operations manager. I was the marketing manager. I was the event producer, right? Of the event of
Right.
every single day making juice. And we did like we would do film and television sets at the same time as doing like, pop-ups inside of high-tech companies. And we just had a lot going on. And I had teams deployed all over New York and stuff. And it was an overwhelming amount of work. I'd be up at like 4 a.m. every day, and I'd be done with work at like maybe 8 o'clock. And, I'd be sitting there like counting out the cash at the end of the day, feeling like I was going to fall to pieces. Like we were, profitable on paper and in the bank, but I was not okay. And I saw the just kind of irony of being so unhealthy while running a health-based business and helping others be healthy. And it kind of just hit me like, it's almost like lying. It's
Yes,
almost
it
like
is.
lying. But it was more like I just was in denial. I was so like happy that my business was successful, but I wasn't okay. And so
Mm.
I decided to slowly dismantle the business in the beginning of 2019. I needed like a personal sabbatical. I wanted to like take a break. Then my mom had basically a mini stroke, which led to other health
Mm.
complications. And I had a good excuse. And I used the excuse of like needing to be present as a daughter, but the truth is that I was like, I desperately needed to take a break. And I thought, like, how is this like, what's the point? Like, what's the point? You could have all the money in the world, but if you can't
Yeah.
breathe because your chest is so tight, or if you can't sleep at night because you have like mental anxiety that's keeping you awake, or if you're not eating healthy and so your body is just out of balance, if you're, don't feel like good about the way you look, like if you just don't feel healthy minded, if you're out of touch with if you're dissociating from your body,
Yeah.
which we do, like, right, we spend all of our day chained to our computers, like thinking about the business and trying to work
Mhm.
on selling and worried about money. It's like, what's going on in your heart? What's going on in your soul? And I have this holistic health coaching degree. I have this many years of coaching other people to find balance. And here I am, like, kind of not
Mhm.
once again, like not really doing that for myself. And so I just decided to hit the brakes. And now, the first I worked on myself, the first thing I did was kind of give myself like a sabbatical. So I decided to take the middle of 2019 to the end of the year off. I had the money saved and I could just be a health advocate for my mom. And in that time, in that period of rest, the things that I experienced, like the sort of coming back into my body and the opportunity to heal, like the peace of mind, the quiet, the sort of like eliminating all the riffraff of the busyness of the business. And I realized I'd been just like abandoning myself. And I
Yeah.
just said, never again. I have all the tools, I have all the knowledge, I have the practice. I just need to now integrate that into my daily lived experience. And so I began like, starting my day with like a really rock solid morning routine, affirmations, wellness tips, things like just eating healthy and drinking water and meditating for a few minutes every day. And I just felt like, once again, I felt like this new person and back to my holistic roots. And it's like, okay, this is what we need. Like, and I thought, what about other business owners out there who are like, who think this is what it's supposed to be like?
And it's not.
And it's not. Like, you don't have to be broken down at the end of every night and exhausted. You don't need to be having like tremendous mental anxiety every single day. You don't have to please every person that wants to do business with you.
Yep.
And you need to put yourself at the top of your to-do list. You need to prioritize your own balanced body, mind, and spirit. Like that stuff, like all that cliche talk of like, the wellness kind of, diatribe. It's real. It's really
Yeah.
true. We deserve to be hydrated, to be well
Mhm.
rested, to feel like our creative output is part of our business. Like, it's important that we have a holistic balance. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much money you make. And I can
Yeah.
testify to that. You can make all
Yeah.
the money in the world, but if you don't feel good, you don't feel good. And that's
Mhm.
your lived experience is what's happening in your body. The body keeps the score. And
Yeah.
we have very short time in this lifetime to be resilient, to shine our lights, to do good. And it's hard to do that when you don't feel good.
Yes,
So
and it can happen fast too.
it
It can
does.
happen really fast, and it's so crazy that you're saying all of this because but I just started back podcasting for my season 4. I haven't even been in it that long just yet, but I took almost a year break
Ah, okay.
because back in 2019, I lost my mom, and a year later, I lost my husband,
Oh, no.
and I didn't take a break in between. So I made it my business last year to actually just take a break for a long time. And I just really started back recently. And I don't think people understand how you could just tear your whole body apart. I had gained weight like extremely, I mean, pounds, like
Yeah.
over 100 pounds I had gained, and it was more like internal. It
Mhm.
wasn't like I was eating a lot or anything. It's just stress. Like stress can like literally kill you if you
Yeah.
let it. You not getting rest can literally kill you as well. And people need to understand the people on social media, your listeners, if they love you and they are dedicated to your business and they know who you are, different things, they will come back, they will support you, and they will understand. But you
Uh,
have to work on you because you won't be able to keep doing it.
That is so absolutely. I'm so sorry about your mom and your husband. That is like
Thank you.
that's really, and grieving, you don't get to decide how long grieving takes.
Oh, you know.
I lost my dad in 2008. I still think about him every single day. And
Yeah,
and that also that informed my, my choices around how I want to be in this lifetime, because he died of
yeah,
cancer. And I was like a shocking thing to see how quickly his body decomposed from that. Like
yeah.
it's not, yeah, it can happen quickly, like you said.
Very fast. Life
So
is short.
when I have a new client, uh, so I have mostly one-on-one clients, but I did launch last year. I launched a group coaching program. So there's two ways that I support my clients in like prioritizing their health. The first thing is like at the beginning of a relationship with a new client, like they hire me to do technical design and like copywriting, marketing, messaging. I'm their coach and mentor for like, how is your personal brand? What is your unique special sauce? What is your unique magical thing that's just you? How do we pull that out and pull that up to the surface so that your story stands out, so that people find you, the right people are attracted to you because you're telling your unique, authentic story. And then from there, we build an online business that reflects all of that. So all the stuff, the branding, the tech stuff, the marketing, whatever, none of that matters if they're not right in their mind. And so we
True.
start the whole program, like my coaching program with these clients starts with like a wellness check, like a kind of run
Yeah.
them through. Basically, I run them through the first step in my holistic health coaching uh, program, which I ran for many years. So it's like, are you where in these holistic wheel are you feeling out of balance? Because it all affects each other. So like I have a wheel of life exercise that I give to them, and they do like a dot on the wheel for, wherever they feel like how well they're doing. A dot close to the center is not so good. A dot close to the outside of the wheel is very full and, feeling fulfilled. And they
Yeah.
just visually connect the dots, and it shows them a snapshot of how they feel about their own life. And then whatever areas are out of balance, we aim to put a little extra support around that during their coaching program. So, and then regardless of if food and nutrition is one of those things, we also work out like a meal plan and the kind of foods that are going to be suitable for their metabolic body type, their macros. Like I just have a ton of experience with that. And that's a special offer that not a lot of people can give to their clients. So, I mean, except for nutrition coaches, but so it's a nice thing to say, oh, my business coach is also helping make sure that I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that it's foods that are actually good for me. And we figure that out together. And so now we don't like take that. I'm not like every single week, like, so how did your meals go? But they can check in with me at any time about, those, that reality of how their body is kind of feeling as they move through the very like intense process of stepping into entrepreneurship and really like kind of leveling up to be in a place where their nervous system can handle like financial
True.
growth, responsibility. Like if you're going to become a millionaire, ladies, let me tell you right now, your nervous system needs to be at capacity to handle that. Because if it's not, you'll just lose the money like just quickly. Like we need to be able to receive and hold space, and money is just another form of energy, just like food. So we start kind of taking this holistic look at like, not just what are you going to do as a business owner? How do you want to be a CEO? How do you want to be how are you going to show up on the online space? What are you going to sell? Right? It's like, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel in your body? And then we talk about the inputs. What are the inputs to get you to that feeling now instead of in 10 years from now? Like you
Yeah.
could start feeling that way right away. You could start feeling that way next week, in 2 weeks, if we can slightly adjust the inputs. And it's not just food. It's like, what's the self-talk in your mind? Like, so we start basically the first sort of module of my program is really about setting up very strong foundations that are like holistic based foundations. Like how do you envision yourself? Let's tweak that so that you can start to see this next level self. Let's meet her and start walking towards her. Like, who is she going to be? Who are you when you're looking back 5 years? Like, what is she wearing? What does she feel like? What kind of car is she driving? What kind of clothes is she wearing? All that stuff. But how does she feel?
Yeah.
And I think it's just a different approach to business. And I learned to do it by giving that gift to myself.
And you deserve it. You definitely deserve it. So
Yeah.
you created several different digital courses from Green Smoothies 101 and Soulful Sales. What inspired you to dive into course creation, and what do you enjoy most about teaching others through these digital resources?
Yeah, good question. Well, pandemic, right? So the juice my mom got sick. I sort of like tapered down the whole like physical like, circus that I was running of my like New York City catering company. And like you can't you can't know these things, but I had all of my like large scale kitchen, like refrigeration units and all the things that were like inside the prep state space in Queens. They were all tucked away in a storage unit already when the pandemic hit.
Oh, you ready.
I was like, there is a God. This is the proof. Like, do you know how hard it would have been for me as a like a solo business owner to manage getting all like taking apart the dismantling that just the mechanics of my business was like a large scale operation. And I had already like sold stuff and I'd already let all of my employees like trickled off. Like I slowly stepped them off of, helped them all find other jobs. Like I slowly dismantled my business. And it was all tucked away when the pandemic hit. But I was in that phase of like discovering that that I had burnout and that I needed desperately to heal. And so I was sitting there, I'm like, damn, I did not see this coming. Like, this is a real monkey wrench. Like my entire income came to a screeching halt, And I was like, okay, what do I have? I've got this giant email list of people that I have been in close communication with for the last decade. These are my clients, they're my colleagues, they're my peers, thousands of New Yorkers that trust me as their go-to for like, a quick, healthy meal. And I have all of this education around how to coach people. I have the setup of the program. I've been running group coaching programs for like years now. I just need to package this up somehow. And so my first mini online course, it's called Green Smoothies 101. You can still buy it on Udemy for like, I think like $9 or something. It still sells like a couple of units every week. I'm like, yes, green smoothies, keep going. I shot the whole thing on my phone in my kitchen with just a blender. It's like me and my blender, and it's everything I know about like how to really take care of yourself. It starts with the beginning of like this holistic health coaching program, and then it gets into 7 smoothies that cover the entire gamut of nutrients. So if you make these 7 different smoothies, you're going to get, all of the necessary A to Z nutrients into your body for the most part, right? So it covers all the vitamins and minerals, but just in these like easy to make in your blender, tasty, delicious smoothies. It's like it's like a gateway drug for healthy eating. It's so easy to make a smoothie. So I thought, let me just package up a little smoothie course. I'm like, I'll just do my best. I wrote and recorded and composed the intro song, which is hilarious. And it's just really funny. Like if I go back and listen to it now, I crack up. But it was sloppy. It's very, very messy. And I still sell it all the time. People give me 5-star ratings on Udemy.
That is amazing. But it's you being your authentic self.
Totally,
people love that.
Oh, I'm like dancing around the kitchen. I'm like, let's have some fun. This doesn't have to be so hard. Like definitely. And then from there, I thought, okay, this is good. And it was the middle of the pandemic. And I was like, what do people need? So I reached out to my email list. By the way, anyone that is doing email marketing, such a hidden gem. Every once in a while, email your list and ask them what they need. If you're not doing that, it is a gold mine. They'll tell you what they need. If they trust you and you have a good dialogue going with your community, I've done this. I do this all the time. I'll be like, hey, I'm sort of feeling like maybe I want to create something to kind of support this little thing. When I say that, what do you think? And what do you need? And people always give me feedback. So anyways, I reached out and people were like, so many women, especially, we're stuck inside the house. We're afraid to touch our groceries. Like we're afraid to go outside and breathe in like a deadly virus. And I don't know how to cook and I don't know how to eat healthy and I'm getting depressed and I'm eating like takeout all the time. And so I created an online plant-based cooking course called Plant Powered Kitchen. So proud of that. That's a much more robust it's like a full multi-module course. And for that course, I actually did Amy Porterfield's Digital Course Academy. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's kind of like, she's like the queen of digital courses. I took her training, and
Wow.
it was helpful because I had done an okay job with my first course, but this gives you, it just gave me a structure to follow so that I could do a better job at putting together like the curriculum and, you know, how to really like shape it. So that was cool. But I at the same time, I had all of these other women who are in the wellness industry, my friends who were yoga, you know, yoga teachers and massage therapists, and they're out of work, right? They were like, I'm out of work. And I was like, oh girl, start an email list. Like all my money is coming from my email list. And so I started doing these like salon gatherings online on Zoom where I just told any of my female friends, like, hey, you want to come join and learn a little bit? I'm teaching for free on Wednesday night. And that slowly just turned into a thing. And I realized like there's so many women out there who don't know anything about technology, who don't know how to use the free tools of the internet. And I'd been doing that to run my business for years. So I was like, oh, okay, let me help these women make some money. And it lit me up. I was like, this is like, I'm passionate about helping women eat healthy, and I will continue to fold that into all of my coaching offers. But like helping women tap into their dream and make it profitable online, like that's just like,
Mm.
I love that. It's like every single time I meet a client, like I do my client sessions and I'm like, I just feel so happy. I feel so excited that something that I practiced for the last decade is now helping them make money, taking their dream, their unique, special brand of magic, their personality, their skills, their experience, and turning it into a profitable online business. Like I'm so happy to be doing that work right now. It's
That
really,
is amazing.
and it's a good,
I'm loving this.
yeah, we're in a major growth period, like online digital, like assets and digital educate. The online education space is skyrocketing. It's growing faster than almost, it's like, it's up there with like, you know, industries like oil and like, or like, you know, or not oil, but the opposite. Oh my God, not electric cars, but yeah, like hydroelectric power.
Hydro.
You know what I'm saying about
AI.
AI, right? But the online education space is growing.
Yes, it
It's
is.
for everybody. Everybody, the internet, it's like the Wild West still. I mean, we still have not regulated it. Like anybody could grab a piece of land, get yourself a website or not, just get a URL and forward it to your email marketing service provider and start building your little community. Just carve out your little space on your little corner of the internet and just shine your light, grow your love for your community. And yes, sell something that makes you money and do it with love and integrity and from a soulful place. And it's like, it's good business. It's good business. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. There's so many opportunities. Like we're doing this right now. We get to meet and become friends and like expand our worlds.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. So tell me, what's next for you? What do you have coming up?
I am coaching a free end of year event that this is going to be my fourth year. It's called Plan and Envision 2025. And I do this at the end of every calendar year. I started doing it for myself when I ran the juice truck. And it just revolutionized my business. And so what it is it's a very, very thorough step-by-step calendar and like roadmap event. So we get together on Zoom. It's 90 minutes to 2 hours with questions and answers. It's free. And what we do is I walk everyone step by step through like an annual review. We do a look back, what worked, what didn't work. And so I basically guide people through journal prompts and like short sessions where we kind of step by step figure out what do you want to do with the coming year for your business. And it gives entrepreneurs this opportunity to like really cast a wide net, think really big. So I prompt you through, and then at the end, you actually get a 12-month calendar and we start to kind of plot out like, okay, if I launch in February, this new coaching program, that's a month long, you know, let's say a 30-day runway to launch, then I'm in it for, okay, so that bucket is the launch window. Then that bucket is when I'm delivering the program. And you can start to project financial growth, right? 'Cause you start to say like, okay, it's a numbers game. If I want to make, if I want to have a $20,000 launch of a product and I'm charging $1,000, then I need 20 people to sign up for that thing. If I want 20, I should invite 250 or, 1,000. Like you just do the numbers and then you start to go, okay, then I need to do an ad that reaches 1 million people. It's like you kind of work backwards from like, what is my plan going to be? And when you do it that way, then you say, okay, so what I really need is a Facebook ad that can run every day at $20 a day for like X number of days. I need a budget of, and now you have a financial clue about how you're going to get that 20 people and make that 20,000. And it's for people who are just starting out and don't have a huge budget to invest in their marketing, mapping and getting clear about where you're going to pull together. Because if you know that in February, you're going to need an extra $1,000 for your Facebook ad that you're going to run, well, guess what? Now it's December. You've got 3 months to like, just don't buy that $3.50 coffee each day. And you're saying, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we can start to think strategically about how we spend our money, where we put our focus. And so anyways, plan and envision. It's December 1st. It is conjunction with the new moon, which is an incredible time. It's the beginning of a lunar cycle. I'm a little bit witchy that way. I just love to do things on the new moon. I love to get together with people and be like, what intention are we setting? And so this is like a big intention setting. It's a very thorough and super like productive 90-minute workshop. So everybody is invited to come to that. I'll give you the link.
Yes, I'm coming.
That's happening. Yeah. It's also fun. It's like, bring your snacks, bring your favorite beverage. Let's like get our like business caps on and like think big. And then, we can break out and talk like, okay, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? People collaborate. I've had people email me like halfway through this year and be like, girl, do you know I'm still using the calendar we did last year? Helpful. And it really helped me because what you do is you do the look back, right? And you say, you know what? I did 12, like with the juice truck, it was like, I did like 12 volunteer basically gigs where we set up and we thought it would be a promotion. And I spent out of my pocket, maybe like $300 on produce. And I served, these people or whatever, and nothing came of it. I spent money and spent time. Okay. This year, I'm not going to do 10 of those. I'm only going to do 1. You know what I mean? Like, so I just to be able to review and say, what didn't work for me? Like I drained myself doing that. Or what kind of client did I work with that kind of drained me and it wasn't a good match? What were those characteristics? Like we need to do review and we need to get kind of brutally honest with ourselves because profit in business comes from smart decision-making. Like you need to have mechanisms in place. Let's just assume that your offer is amazing and everyone loves you and your brand is on point. Even with all of that in place, you don't make a profit unless you're making smart decisions because you have to invest in marketing. You have to invest in personnel, so I think looking back and reviewing kind of what worked and what didn't is such a good process. And it's just a healthy way to kind of trim some of the riffraff out of your business and say, you know what, next year, like you can look and you can say, well, that's where I made all my money. So I'm going to do more of that and less of that. And then we literally map it out.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about Girl Makes Fire.
Yes. Oh my God. So I wanted to start a podcast like 3 or 4 years ago and I hemmed and I hawed. I think I thought like, I don't know what I thought. I'm sure anyone that's ever started a podcast had a period of self-doubt where they were like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I have a production background and I have, I'm very comfortable with the online tools. And so it wasn't like about the production as much as like finding your voice. And I was like, well, I know what I'm doing. I know what I think. I know who I want to work with. Like all that stuff is clear. What's my holdup? And I procrastinated, man. I had so many excuses. And then at the start of this year, I made just a decision. I said, you know what? I put it on my calendar from last year. I was like, in the new year, I'm starting my podcast, come hell or high water, no matter what. And I kind of right up to the day before I recorded my first episode, I didn't really know what I was going to do, like how I wanted to, did I want it to be like, how-to sessions or inspiration or what was it going to be? And I think I'm still kind of curating that like really perfect series and voice. But what I knew is that I wanted to tap into the innate creativity that is the essence, the core essence of the small business owner, the entrepreneur, the soulpreneur, that there is this thing inside of us that believes in our dream, right? And there's this fire burning inside of us. And I started thinking about how if you talk to like an anthropologist, they'll tell you that one of the most defining moments in the history of the evolution of man, where we become powerful and like more having, more control as beings in the world, is the moment when man first discovers fire, right? So a Paleolithic
Right.
caveman, probably they say what happened is he was probably lucky enough to see lightning strike a tree and catch fire. And so now he becomes aware that this electricity exists, that this fire is possible. And his immediately, like his frontal cortex begins to like grow and develop, right? He now knows about fire. Now he's got to learn how he can make fire. Can he control fire? And as this caveman like gets to the point in the growth of his brain, literally, where he can make his own, like scratch together two sticks or a rock or whatever and spark a fire, that changes everything for the history of our species. Because with
Yeah.
control of fire, we can clear land, we can ward off enemy animals that would eat them, like a lion or a tiger. We can protect our family, we can grow food now, right? Suddenly we have
Yeah.
so much power. So I was like, I well, I want to sort of take that back and just re-look at that through the lens of like just the female filter. And like so much of what women do is this like belief in that little spark,
Yes.
we just do it. We just do it. We're homemakers. We tend to the community. We do healing work without even
Mm,
we don't have to be asked. We just do it. We cook that good food. We sing songs. We sew patches onto, ripped jeans. We just do so much innovative stuff. And
yeah.
I just think women are incredibly powerful. And I thought, yeah, a girl making her own fire is like the core essence of what I want to like talk about and be about, is like all these women out there starting their own businesses, starting their own podcasts, like changing people's lives by nurturing that spark and building their own little fire. And I it's funny because it's not, you can't find my podcast. It's like buried under the surface because it doesn't have the right SEO. Like I've had 3 podcast producers tell me I should change the name. And I've been really thinking about that. Like, should I change the name? And I thought, you know what? Like, it's not famous and nobody knows about it now, but maybe in a year from now, it will stand on its own because
Right.
I will attract the right people and they will attract the right people and it will just build safely to be a really big bonfire. And I don't have to do things by the book and worry about, it's like people don't, if you're searching for, it's all about marketing. It's all about your mindset.
Yeah.
Basically, it's mindset to market the podcast. It's what I could change the name to mindset to market, but um, I don't know. I like Girl Makes Fire.
I like mindset to market too, because that fits you. Because you're helping people develop their mindset,
Yeah.
and you also helping them learn how to market themselves as well.
Yeah, and
Like,
that is the gist of the podcast. On Mondays, I do Mindset Mondays. I'm like, okay, ladies, like this is like a way to fine tune the way we take the approach that we take to this whatever niche thing that comes up in entrepreneurship.
right.
I think a lot of it is me sharing kind of mistakes that I've made, how I overcame them, and what I would do differently if I did it again. Like, and I try to if I do, I've been doing 2 episodes a week, but it's kind of oscillating. But if I do, I'm trying to have one of them be really just mindset, like an emotional, mental kind of approach. And then the
Yeah.
other one be like a how do you do this type thing where you could literally
Mhm.
like hit pause, get your notebook out and like overcome a challenge that you're absolutely going to come across inside online marketing and business. So whether that's like how to set up, the right like tech stack or like exactly how do you, connect your video feed to your blah, blah, blah. Like it's not as technical as that. It's more like how do you create the momentum inside your business? Like how do you actually get those needle moving results? And that could be, you could approach that from so many different lenses.
For
There's a
sure.
lot of topics. And
Yeah.
marketing is really just storytelling, it's like, can you tell your story? How do you tell your story? So um yeah, creativity, storytelling, you know, how to overcome challenges. That's mostly what the content is. And
Right.
Yeah, I love it so much. I recently really picked up starting to interview people. So I've done like 5 or 6 interviews. A lot of the episodes are solo, but going
Wow,
forward, I'm getting the knack of the interview. So
great. That is great. So let us know, how can someone get in contact with you about coaching opportunities for you to help them? And also, how can people find your podcast?
yes, thank you. So my website has all the links on it. It's my name, deborahcsmith.com. Uh, I would say absolutely come to if you're an entrepreneur who is working on you could be at any phase of your business, the Plan and Envision event is like definitely useful for anyone at any stage of business. If you're brand new or if you've been in business for a decade, planning with a group of, awesome women is like priceless. So come to that and can give you the link that you can put in the show notes. But my podcast, you can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's just Girl Makes Fire. And it's all also linked on my website.
Great. And what's your
Also,
social media?
what's that?
Your social media.
Oh, social media. Yeah. So it's my name, Debra Smith Coaching, on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. There's underscores, so it's Debra, DEBORAH _ Smith, SMITH _ coaching. And I also have a free, very handy tool for anyone that is interested that sort of talks a little bit about that holistic planning. And that it's a day planner that I created. I call it the Daily Abundance Planner, because it's a day planner with like your calendar of things to do. It looks kind of like this. I'm going to hold this up for you, but people aren't going to see this, I don't think. And as you can see, there's times here listed for what am I doing at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., all the way for the whole day. On the right-hand side, there's specific focus goals. And those are meant to be for your really needle moving tasks for the day. Because as an entrepreneur, it's if you do one thing that takes away the other 10 little things on your list, then you're saving time and money. But then at the bottom, it's it tracks your money, your intake, your food, your exercise, gratitude. There's a spot to check off sleep, water, sales. It's checking you on all of these sort of holistic points that make your day feel in balance. So my invitation to people is to print this out and to fill it out at the start of your day. Do your affirmations, speak kindly about yourself, say positive things about yourself, plan out how you're going to feed your body, make sure that you have hydration in the plan for the day. And then actually put that on your to-do list. So it's you're not second in line to your business. You're putting yourself first, actually on your planner. And it makes a huge difference. My clients tell me all the time that it changes their whole day. So I would invite anyone that's interested to download that. And then if you want to be, that would put you on my mailing list. No pressure to stay on there. But if you I send out a once a week, a newsletter that's usually talking points, a bloggish kind of version of the podcast episode that goes out that week. And so they kind of all work together like that.
Oh, well, thank you, Deborah. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for all the informative information, letting entrepreneurs know how great it is to even eat healthy, have a healthy mindset, just everything about health for them to be able to prosper and be amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Yvette, for having me on today. This is it's a special day. So I'm grateful that we got to connect and meet. And thank you so much for hosting me.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life Her Podcast. You are able to subscribe on YouTube and listen to me on all major platforms. Thank you.
Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.